Welcome to the Comics Coffee Metal Podcast, episode 166.
Greetings and welcome to the Comics Coffee Metal Podcast. I'm your host, Don Cardenas, and I am so glad to have returning guests, but for the first time together, the amazing duo of Sally Cantirino and John McGuire. John, Sally, thank you for coming back on.
Hey, how are you, man? We're happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us back.
Really glad. Long time coming. I had Sally on first, and she was like, "Oh, you should talk to my husband, John. He's great. You guys would get along. Talk to you, loved it." So I'm like, "Well, we got to do both now, because you both do awesome, cool stuff, and might as well get a 2-for-1 shot when doing the podcast, right? If you're both there." But you both have been doing really cool stuff for the past few years. Sally, right now you've got Orla out with Mad Cave and John Lee's really great book. And John, you're always, it seems like whenever I blink, you just like there's like another game. You're getting out there and all that. And unfortunately, while this won't be live during the current Kickstarter for one you have going on now, there will be late pledges available. So I'll make sure there's links to all that so you can go check it out, because it looks really cool and all that. But the rule of the show. I got to ask before we dive into anything: Comics Coffee Metal. What have you all been digging lately?
Well, let me just jump in first, and before I go down my list, I have to tell you. The Comics Coffee Metal t-shirt that you put out.
Yeah.
Quickly, obviously one of my favorite t-shirts, but man, I have like 2 or 3 shirts that I get the most compliments on or most interactions on wherever I go when I wear them. I have a Nancy Drew Metallica knockoff shirt. I've got
nice.
an Aloha shirt that has all tacos on it, but man, I got the Comics Coffee and Metal t-shirt. And especially like right after Ozzy had passed, I can't tell you how many people stopped me and were like, "My God, that's the coolest shirt I've ever seen." And then would just talk to me about metal and talk to me about Ozzy and talk to me about,
I love it.
obviously everyone's feeling bad about it, but like, it really sparked some great friendly conversations and got people hyped to talk about metal. So,
I'm so glad to hear that, because I had like the logo shirts for that before, but I've been wanting to do this one for a while. I just never really sat down and did it, and the timing wasn't intentional. It just was what it is, was what it was. But like the fact that like a bunch of people who ordered it like messaged me on the side like, "Oh, I think I love doing this because I wanted to have that one, but I wasn't sure about the the logo." I'm like, "No, I get it. You don't want to feel like you're repping something for me, but this is just kind of very." It's the 3 things that are awesome.
It's the perfect t-shirt. Yeah. Coffee wise though, I'm still enjoying 2 cups a day. I love a medium and a dark roast, and a medium dark is that nice happy medium. Although lately I've had to have more decaf sometimes because my sleep schedule is kind of a little off there for a little bit. But I don't know. You've been getting something like a little donkey treat that looks that I took a sip on the other day. It was pretty delicious because I had to try it on the way home.
It's just the cold brew with the brown sugar syrup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just really good. Yeah, like, I mean, if I want to get like good coffee, my my therapist's office is near Paper Plane Coffee in Montclair, New Jersey, which I highly recommend. They have something called well, the cat is here now. I think it's called like a voodoo roast.
Okay.
But they just have like extremely good coffee and espresso.
Nice.
I will also say on the subject of espresso, my barber is right down the block, and he is awesome. Christian is his name, and whenever I go in there, he's like, before I get my hair cut, because I always go first thing in the morning, he's like, "Would you like an espresso?" And I'm like, "Damn right I would."
I would actually get my hair cut if that was something I could do. You can just get some coffee and a clip. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and then if I look really tired, sometimes it gives me 2.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why you can't sleep.
Then I wonder why I can't sleep. Listen, I don't drink, but I drink coffee, and coffee, like she'll be sitting next to me sometimes in the morning. We're having breakfast. I'll take a sip. I'm like, God, it's a damn fine cup of coffee, and it's just it's part of my morning ritual. It's part of my morning. Like, all right, whatever happens today, I got started off with a good cup of coffee. Come what may.
And sometimes the coffee is the rootless damn fine cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's still the main coffee we get. We get the big 5-pound bag every couple months, and we just work our way through that. But
it feels the closest to diner coffee I've gotten from an actual like home, like brewable
Okay.
thing that you're doing yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And yeah, I'll check out those. You said Paper Plane coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, because the giant bag we get, it tends to coincide like where we'll have like a week or two where in between we're running out of that, and then before the shipment comes, so we usually just have something we can go try in
Yeah.
between those. So I'm back on the hunt of looking for stuff because we have some go-tos that are really good.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very lucky in Illinois to have like a ton of local roasters that are just great. But I kind of miss, because for quite a while I was trying out a lot of places around the country, just and all that. So I got to get back on that because,
Yeah, I mean the
I don't
regional
know.
stuff is always the best, like because it's something. There's also like a uniqueness and a specialness to every one of those blends and the vibe of the place it comes from. Like it's it's something that I think, I worked in a supermarket when I was like 15 and a half, and we would have to grind the coffee for people like back in the day. I mean, this is like I'm
I remember
46, so it
the
was like
coffee grinder in the
at the
supermarket.
at the A&P is at
I
the end of
yeah.
every aisle, and I'd have to grind coffee as part of my job for people.
Okay.
And by human hands doing it, by controlling the knobs, like because we have a little push button one now that does the
Yeah.
job for us, but like back in
It's
the
got
day,
knobs.
well, yeah, but I had to dial it in like
Yeah.
special, and it was
Yeah.
like, it was a certain way if you got it from me. And truthfully, I didn't know what I was doing. I was 15 and a half.
Like, I don't even drink coffee yet.
Barely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm 43. I spent plenty of time working at a supermarket. I remember the coffee grinders. We didn't have people who did it. We just had them in there, so it was always like a mess on the floor under it or something because someone wasn't paying attention. But I will say, ever since we got it was like a $50-$60 one, but a burr grinder as opposed to a blade grinder,
Oh,
big difference.
really?
Big difference.
Oh,
Yes, like
it's good to know.
I'm not a coffee snob by any means, but I'm like, you know what? Let's try this, and I'm like, well, that I guess with the blades, it tends to like heat up the beans more
That makes sense.
as
Yeah.
you're cutting them up. So yeah, so every morning I just go and it has a little hopper in there, so I just keep it filled and closed. And every morning just go set how many cups I want, click it, and we're off to the races.
Yeah, I mean, there's something like real special about doing something like that. And
Yeah.
I will tell you, like there's certain things that like it's like kind of an olfactory thing for me that brings me like right back to the moment.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, like when I go into places and they grind fresh coffee, like I'll smell it and I'll remember being that. And then I'll remember also like every few months we had a thing where like there was always this one person who would insist on grinding their own, and there was a scream when things just didn't go right and there's coffee grinds everywhere.
Oh yeah,
I had to clean it up.
fun times.
Yeah,
Fun times in retail.
that's it, man. Yeah.
So awesome. Oh well, how about let's go with some metal. What have y'all been listening to? I know I don't think metal is the go-to for, if I remember correctly, for both of you, but you both definitely still do imbibe a bit.
Oh, I know. I love heavy metal.
Yeah.
I don't love a lot of new heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
It just hit a. I like singing. I like to hear people
Yeah.
singing. I don't like a lot of growling and like guttural.
Mm-hmm.
But the new Castle Rat is awesome. I've been listening to the
Oh,
new
I was
Castle
gonna
Rat.
say, yeah, that's
Like,
that was
checks
one
off
of
so
those
many
I'd
boxes.
recommend for y'all. Yeah, because that was definitely I've heard of them, but I haven't like dive into them too much, just because there's a lot in that genre. So I was like, trying not to like. I find that if I start to kind of hyperfixate on a certain genre of metal, I'll like go too far, and then I'll just get sick of like I won't give other bands the fair shake
Yeah.
in that realm. So I try to like forcefully like not go too far in, and just try to just just feast on a few bands at a time. So
Yeah.
to
No, I
speak,
mean
that kind of
they're
stuff.
interesting though because it's theatrical. There's a whole
Yeah.
stage show to it. It's just like when I first saw it. Like I saw an ad for one of their videos, sponsored ad,
Mm-hmm.
and the singer was running around. She got a sword. There's like a wizard and whatever, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna turn into like a credit card ad or something inevitably, because like, you know, once you see something cool in an ad, you're like, ah, it's I'm waiting for it to turn, and then it didn't, and I was like, wait, this is a band, and I went and I listened to it. I'm like, this is everything I want in a band, and
it's like Red Sonja metal,
you know, so. It's Red Sonja metal, man, and the band is so talented. The band is so good conceptually, visually. You know, it's like if I go to a show, it's like that's something cool. You feel like you're a part of it. You know, now it's forever in this realm. The whole shebang. But other than that, when I write, I like to listen to King Diamond. There's certain times where, like, when I'm starting a project, like, you know, Sally, you hear me listening to a lot of like alt country. And this and that, but like when a project is starting and I'm trying to get dialed into it, I put on King Diamond. I will usually start with later, well, not later anymore. That was the 90s era King Diamond, and then I go back to Merciful Fate, and then I back and forth, and then I'll listen to like Nothing But Sabbath for like a couple days, and I'll do the whole spectrum from beginning to Heaven and Hell, including Heaven and Hell. And then I kind of just bounce back and forth. We saw Alice Cooper opening for My Chem recently.
Nice.
And
it's fantastic.
So I mean, I was listening to Alice Cooper a lot, which is, it's just a completely different experience seeing Alice Cooper live than it is listening to Alice Cooper on recording. So if you haven't, you must.
It's funny you mentioned King Diamond, because a recent guest, Luke Henderson, they talked about their love of King Diamond, and I'm like, I never really gave King Diamond a fair shake. My experience with enjoying that was really just when Metallica did like that 12-minute medley cover on one of their albums of Merciful Fate stuff. So I'm like, maybe I should give it a shot. And I did, and I respect King Diamond immensely, but it's just not. It just wasn't hitting for me again. I'm like, one day it'll click.
Yeah,
because
one day the King will hit you right.
Yeah, well, because I had the same experience with Mastodon many years ago, and then after speaking to another previous guest, Chuck Beebe, about Mastodon, I'm like, you know what? Let me try them again. And I'm like, wait a second, no, inject this in my veins. Like, this is perfect. So it's like, you know, it's got to hit you at the right time. You know,
it really does. I mean, Mastodon for a lot of people I know is very polarizing because it was the right thing at the wrong time for, I think, for a lot of people. But then the people who really got it were like, wait, go back and listen to this. And then you're like, oh, well, that's totally screwed the pooch on that by not getting involved in the ground floor. Like, real brilliant stuff.
I kind of kicked myself. I'm like, man, I could have been digging them for like the past 20 years. But like, well, I tried 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. It just didn't get me then. Like so much stuff does, but you know, it comes around. How about you, Sally? What have you been digging?
Yeah. So, you know, my Orla playlist is very much not metal. It's a lot more like girly pop, indie. But with working on the stuff for our third-party module for the Stick and Switch system under the Shadow of the Noonday Witch, I've been listening to like Castle Rat. I've been listening to like Blood Ceremony, Lucifer, like Witchcraft. You know, looking for sort of those more like spooky, not spooky.
That kind of that vibe,
like folk horror metal.
Yeah. Have you checked out Bloody Hammers before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they
they're
fit
on my
that
playlist too. I can.
Okay.
I'm like, I could look at my playlist and tell you. Have it right here. Yeah, and then also like with Orla, there's a couple. There's always a couple like Spirit Box and Poppy songs. Like I love Poppy.
What was your opinion of that song with Amy Lee, Poppy, and Courtney?
Oh, that was like so. Evanescence was like one of the first bands that I was like, oh my God, you know, like this is like 2002, 2003. I was like 12, 13 years old. So it was like that was like a revelation to me. It was like, you know, sort of my first kind of dipping my toes into heavier music. So there is a part of like, you know, healing for my like 13-year-old self.
Yeah.
That she's still out there, still making music. Like my friend who lives in Florida went to the My Chem show where Evanescence opened in like Tampa. And I was like, oh, now I'm back down the rabbit hole and like kind of, you know, having a little time to be like telling my teenage self, like, it's okay.
I don't know the veracity of this, but I've seen some rumblings online that that song was kind of like a tester to see if like a tour with those three bands would be something that, and I'm like, please make that happen.
Print money.
Because we saw Spirit Box last year when they opened for Gojira and Korn, and you know I loved them before that, but like they just, you know, for the half hour they came, and like so many people around us who had no idea who they were, like we immediately just heard like the chatter, like who are they again? Well, they were so good, like how did she do that?
Yeah.
But yeah, they were amazing, and so yeah, it's good to hear their stuff on the playlist, especially for Orla, because I was wondering, because there's kind of that quick turn, I guess.
Yeah. Like, you know, for my Orla playlist, I can tell you it's like, you know, there's stuff like Lush and Veruca Salt, Pom Squad, Alanis Morissette, like a lot of female fronted bands and artists or female artists. And then, you know, I can throw in like Soft Spine from Spirit Box.
Yeah.
Run Rabbit from Alt Black era. Like, you know, you can kind of throw in some fun stuff when you have to draw those like eviscerating scenes. Though it's actually really fun listening to like girly pop, drawing those like that's being torn out to like Chapel Roan, you know.
I forget who I spoke to about this last, but like it's funny that like, because I'll listen to some, you know, pretty gnarly stuff, but it's always like when I'm like, I'm just at the grocery store, or I'm just like doing something casual, and then when I'm like drawing like, you know, violent scenes or whatever, I got like synth pop on in the background, or Tegan and Sarah or something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Like, when I'm doing the scene, when I'm drawing the scenes in Orla that are like the romantic date scenes and stuff, like I'm listening to a podcast about like, you know, disasters in history or like, you know, listening to like, you know, gnarly music. And then when I'm drawing like somebody getting eaten by the ick, I'm listening to like Phenomenon.
Yeah.
Listen to Pink Pony Club.
Our brains need that dichotomy, that switch.
Well, because, you know, drawing the gore is always kind of like, it's a little bit funny. It's always a little bit over the top.
It's fun. Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's always a little bit of silliness of like, this is so over the top. This is so ridiculous.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Sometimes you do need to have some like, you know, Charlie XCX on.
Intestines and, you know.
Yeah. Girl So Confusing Intestines.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you know, as is the case when you both are creators, you make stuff all the time. So maybe you don't have a lot of time to read stuff, but have you had time to, you know, dive into any comics lately? Anything you want to chat about with any new, old stuff you've you know, checked out or read lately?
I read comics voraciously before bed. You know, one of the things I've been trying to do a lot lately is trying to move away from doom scrolling, being on social media more than I need to be. Just, you know, kind of trying to get back to that place where when I was a kid, where I was like, you know, when was I, you know, what was cool? You know, what was cool? Reading comics, watching horror movies, like just making music, listening to music, making art, and not just falling into that trap of like, I got my phone in my hand, like every like, you know, I'm like looking, and I'm getting more and more stressed out by everything I see. Ooh, a cat. And then I'm back to being stressed out. So I got a Marvel Unlimited app. I got the DC Infinite app. And every night before bed, I read like 6 issues of comics. So like I'm caught up within a month of both of the big two. I finally got a pull list again. I hadn't have a pull list. My comic book store closed a bunch of years back. I never I never had a pull list again, but I finally got a pull list at Eastside Mags in Montclair. Shout out to my buddy Jeff, who owns the shop. It's a fantastic shop. But on my pull list, like I got stuff that is not made by the big two. Like I get stuff that, try to get like some other stuff that I like, some stuff from smaller creators. I forget the name of the book. I got it because I'll go through it. If the cover's cool and it's a horror book, I'll buy it. They started doing like new EC comics.
Okay.
And things like that. And I forgive me, it's upstairs, but I buy it, I like it. I'll bring it home. I bought a comic the other day about Godzilla's a spaceship, which I thought was like super fun. I've been reading G.I. Joe comics again. Jim Zub's Conan, I got on my list as well. But for me, first thing I did was go back and read like all the major storylines from when I was a kid. Just some of them hold up. Some of them are like, oh wow, Maximum Carnage really just was a 14-issue boss fight. Controversial.
I still love it though.
Oh,
I still have my issues in the closet there. Like it's one of those things where it's like I don't need to, but like I have such a fond nostalgia of that series, of that, like, because I didn't buy a lot of Spider-Man when I was growing up, but like for some reason I was like all in on buying the Maximum Carnage stuff.
Dude, me too.
And I think it was because like I was just looking to buy a Spider-Man comic, and I'm like, I want to start somewhere. Oh, Spider-Man Unlimited #1's coming out. Let me check that out. And it's like literally part 1 of this massive crossover. Yeah. And I remember a few times, like the way they're coming out so fast because he had like 3 titles. They had like 3 Spider-Man titles a month. And I think I read a bunch of them out of order because of like I bought one and I wasn't paying attention to the order. So I was no less confused because it really is just all fighting. And
that was the amazing part of it is because like, I love the story. I love the art. I bought the video game versions of it. I was all in on it. However, I wasn't all in on all the tie-in issues because you're a kid. You have like a finite budget and you're already buying 3 Spider-Man books. So with the apps, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to read it all. So like I would go in and I'd read every crossover issue for every like major storyline from when I was a kid to see what I missed out on. The truth is not much because everything was really is just happening in those main books. But I've been doing that. And then like I wanted to pick a jumping on point for like Batman on the other app. So what I did was, because I also started going through and reading like every major storyline that happened from like 2018 on, and that's what was my new starting point. So I'm current on Batman. I'm like a hop, skip, and a jump from being current on Action Comics, which is like 100 issues or something from 2018. Wow. So, but like, you know what, man, like I feel better at night when I go to bed because I'm hype. I read some great comics. And then I'll go check out the weird indie stuff that, they have produced on those apps as well. And it feels good to be back in it.
Nice. Yeah, I've had the Marvel app just over a year now. And I've been trying to get back into basically doing the same thing you're doing. Like just, doing that instead of just doom scrolling. And I've been trying to catch up on some of the X titles and all that. And
read all those.
Kind of going through some of the other stuff. And so I think because Wolverine was always my guy, and I remember I started picking up from where I left off and all that, and it just wasn't hitting me the same, and I was feeling kind of disappointed that it wasn't. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't want to be one of those guys who's like they made him different. It's different. I'm like, no, because I like a lot of the changes. Like I love the fact that Laura is also considered Wolverine. And we're now Sabretooth that she's going by for whatever reasons they have. But just all that stuff. But just for some reason, the stories weren't. But then, I just kept pushing through and it circled right back around.
So Erica Schultz is doing a great Erica Kinney Wolverine run. Yeah. She did a great, she did great Daredevil work. Rick Remender, if you haven't read it, Rick Remender's X-Men and Avengers run, which kind of, in a lot of ways, sets up everything that happened to kind of the current day in the X universe. Like it's just pretty much put everything in motion. And it is absolutely worth reading both cover to cover. Yeah.
I've, long have been waiting, like barely dipping my toes into getting into the Hickman X-Men stuff, just because everyone has such great things to say about it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, whenever I start reading it, that's like towards the tail end of when I'm reading, and I'm just so tired. I'm just like, I can't right now with this. I need to be I need fresher eyes.
Forgive me, it's X-Force, Remender's X-Force.
Yeah, that was I remember that with Jerome Pena's art. Just
Fantomas.
Yes, that was one of the last series I was actually picking up the floppies. With. I haven't picked up physical copies weekly since 2016 when my daughter was born, because then that was a whole not an intentional thing. It just happened. It just so happened that just didn't have time to go, and then it just kind of
falls to the wayside.
Yeah, I didn't want to be one of those guys where the shop's calling me like 6 months. Hey, you haven't picked up your stuff, so I just like immediately said, guys, I'm not going to be able to come in, and shout out Challengers Comics Chicago, because I love those guys. I would never want to burn them. So yeah, it's a tough thing, but I'm so glad I got the Marvel app, and being a creator and actually able to make a little bit of money on comics, I get to write it off. So
that's right. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So there you go. How about you, Sally? Or are you just so neck deep in Orla?
This year I've been very neck deep in Orla, but I did get to New York Comic Con for a day. And it's funny that the two things that I picked up, I'm like, oh, I noticed a theme. I picked up Acid Nun by Corian Halbert, which is so trippy, weird, throwback to exploitation movies, really horny and weird and great. And then I also picked up Marion Heretic #1 from Teenie Howard and Joe Jarrow. So it's the theme is nuns. The theme is nuns. Marion Heretic's great. So the first issue is great so far. Really, I enjoy it because it's got the two things that to me, having grown up Catholic adjacent, the if not witchcraft, why witchcraft shaped of Catholicism. And also, Marion Heretic is very much about being put to work by the patriarchy and trying to survive within patriarchal systems and stay true to your beliefs within those systems, which I think is still very relevant in our current climate.
Unfortunately, very much so, yes.
Yeah. But on the other end, I picked up Mary Sue this week because I'm a big fan of Lisa Sturl's art, and that is much more fun and light. I'm just a huge fan of Lisa Sturl's art. I was a huge fan of Long Lost. I had the opportunity to do some of the layouts on Dying Inside, the graphic novel she did with The Vault. And Mary Sue is just a lot of fun, very joyous, celebrating being a girl, being a fan of things.
Awesome. What's it? So what's it like doing layouts for another artist, much less one whose work you love so much? Is it? Do you approach it feeling I gotta try to anticipate what they're gonna do, or do you just say I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and if they change it,
Yeah, combination of both. I wanted to when I did those layouts, I wanted to be mindful of Lisa's style, Lisa's storytelling style and art style, the tone of the book, not putting too much of my own stamp on it, but while also kind of knowing there's no way to not do that.
Yeah.
So I tried to look at it okay, let me put more of a shoujo manga influence on it. Let me keep it sort of simple and let Lisa build on it. You know, just be aware that like whatever I do, she's going to build on it.
Mm-hmm. Did you find yourself like finishing them more than you would for yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like my layouts for myself are like, here's a head and a speech bubble. And
Yeah.
maybe like I'll draw like a line, you know, like motion lines and like yeet or yoink. Like I don't know how anyone, usually like the first issue that I'm working on a series, when it's like the first time I'm working with an editor and writer, like I'll have very legible layouts.
Yeah.
And then by like issue 5 of Orla, I'm like, what did I it's who? What? At that point I'm just drawing heads and writing like pile of Doug on the floor. There's just a circle and it's like Brad's head.
You know, and that's the, you know, the fun part of, you know, having spent time with characters as you drawn over issues is like you kind of like, all right, I know this is going to be fun. You know, I know how this person looks, or I know what this kind of thing is going to look like in this book, and all that. So is there, how fast did you get like a comfort level with the characters in Orla? I guess we're just diving right into talking about the book, but you know, in drawing Orla, like how fast did you get into like comfortable drawing like the Ick and, you know, Orla herself and the characters?
I think with Orla, it was pretty immediate. Like I knew exactly like how I wanted her to look, what I wanted her style to be. I sort of, you know, did a couple like passes of figuring out how the Ick would look, but I found it pretty quickly. But yeah, I was like, I feel like when I got the first script and the outline for the rest of Orla, you know, what characters I was going to have to include, I was sort of like immediately like, oh, she's going to look like this. He's going to look like a little bit of like an Elijah Wood, Daniel Radcliffe, weird dude. You know, like I love when they're just like weird little dudes and things. You know?
Yeah. Everyone was drawing a weird little guy.
Like,
you know?
Yeah, like this character's gonna look like Chris Evans in Knives Out. Like,
okay.
You know, I sort of knew exactly. And I have projects where sometimes I get the script and I do know exactly how I want things to look, and then there's sometimes where it takes me a couple of tries to kind of figure out how is this character going to look, what's their style going to be, what kind of space are they going to take up.
Yeah It's well, you know, you know, reading the first issue, it felt like, you know, already like the character of Orla and it felt like they were already like, well, like you were already super comfortable drawing them and all that. So that makes total sense that you're like, you found it right away. And it's just not, you know, not that, you know, you can really notice if someone's like, oh, they haven't really gotten a hang of this character yet, but it's one of those things like, you know, when you know it's 100% spot on, you know.
Yeah, I just so clearly was like, this is Orla in my head, and if I can get it onto paper, like, we got it.
Nice. So John, sorry, I want to make sure I get the title right. So I want to make sure I have it. The Under the Shadow of the Noonday Witch.
Yeah,
and that's the short title.
That's the short title.
that is actually a short title. Let me actually pull up the long title for you here. Okay. And you know what? This is all like Sally and my creative partner Gio conceptualized all this together. Like they're the ones writing it. I'm kind of a backseat driving on it, which is perfectly comfortable for me. But the full title, Under the Shadow of the Noonday Witch, or a treatise concerning the nature of the alliances of witches, being admonitions to lords, counts, barons, witch hunters, and all men of authority, touching the folly and peril of attempting to deceive or entrap a coven.
It's a mouthful, but it's also a very interesting mouthful.
It's
intriguing.
I've had a lot of fun with thinking of the design for the book and what kind of like world we're building in the game. You know, we're building on Justin Soroy's like fantastic Sickest Witch like game. You know, this is third party. This is just building onto the world, but having a great time like digging into woodcuts and propaganda from like the 15, 16, 1700s about, you know, witch hunting, looking at like what pamphlets were coming out, what books were being published. And there's a lot of great resources. Like the internet is not all bad. Sometimes universities all over the world put their collections up online for people to see.
Yeah.
And it's a fun rabbit hole to go down.
Awesome. I was gonna say, like the woodcut style of the art, was that something that are you? I'm not going to presume you actually have the time to actually do the woodcuts, so this is very much mimicking that style. But it's which it looks, at least to my eyes, like super authentic to that vibe and that style.
The cat wants to be involved now that we're talking about
all furry friends are welcome on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have, you know, while working on a monthly book, I definitely don't have time to, you know, actually do woodcuts, especially because I was trying to just figure out something for, I just felt like doing Sword Timber. Like I hadn't done it in a couple of years. And so I had done some illustrations for the Hotel Exorcist. 3-2-1 action game that I had tried to mimic the woodcut style, and I think they came out good, but they came out great. But I didn't really feel like I had captured the style exactly the way that I wanted to. So I started kind of just playing with that style and trying it again digitally. And pretty much like doing a sketch, putting a solid black area set at like, I don't know, somewhere between 60 and 80%, and literally like carving out with an eraser, like, or, you know, like an eraser brush set to like a brush setting, and just kind of carving out the image the way that
Clip Studio?
Procreate.
Okay.
Yeah. I use Clip Studio for comics. But then when I'm doing illustrations, I kind of find that like Procreate is a little bit easier for me.
Well, it's got such a cleaner interface. So you kind of have that feel of just being able to just kind of just draw.
Clip Studio has the kind of like robust like tools for comics that I need when it comes to like grids and perspective and measurement and stuff. But Procreate definitely was like, if I'm doing something that's a little looser, it's just a lot easier to find what I need.
I think it's been a while because I've actually haven't been able to actually draw anything on my tablet since like July. But I think Clip Studio did like they tried to like create like a setting to where you can kind of make it look more like Procreate.
Yeah, they tried to
for some
do
people
like a simple setting, but it's like I
still not
can't
that
wrap
simple.
my head around it. Because I started looking for tools that I specifically know are in Clip Studio Paint, but they're not in the simple version. They're only in like the full version, and then I get frustrated. Because I find myself swapping back and forth, and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself?
Because you know, in Clip Studio there is the setting where you can just like make whatever brush you have into an eraser, which I do all the time. That's majority of the stuff, like when I am spotting blacks and stuff like that, and I have to like cut into it. I just fill it all in and just carve it all out and all that, which I liked to do traditionally with the ink pens and all that, but I'm also very impatient. So like waiting for those to dry and the white ink to paint to dry to even adjust it was torture to me. And so it was much more pleasing to do it digitally. So that's why I had to ask.
That's definitely one of those things that is a lot easier to do digitally than like try to find a white that's opaque enough and not water it down too much and still be able to get the sharp lines that you want.
Yeah. I miss a lot of the times doing stuff traditionally, but I also don't miss the lack of patience I have for it.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes when you're just waiting for things.
I do a mix kind of out of necessity of like, sometimes it's like, yo, I just don't know how to achieve this in the amount of time that I have, you know, to finish a project, to hit a deadline. It's like, I just got to do it digitally and hope for the best.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like I wonder if I'm hamstringing myself just because I've made a lot of brushes for myself in Clip Studio to like do the things I would do traditionally, but faster. And I'm like, am I making myself a worse artist by doing this? I don't know. I don't feel like it, but I'm also like, it could just be me overthinking everything on that.
So
but
most of the brushes that I've made for myself in Clip Studio Paint are for like chain link fence, regular like wooden fence, wood paneling, barbed wire, like things that I will, and I'll just use them as pencils and ink over them so that they don't look too static. It still ends up kind of reading, but it's just like, man, I'm like just saving myself like 40 minutes by just being able to hit this with a chain link fence and just know it's all going to be the same size and proportional and it's going to be even. And like, no one's going to know except me.
It's like that.
No
one's going to know.
Like, I think that's the same chain link fence from issue number 17.
The same chain link fence in I Walk with Monsters and in Door to Door Night by Night. Like, yes.
It was also like, as much as, we respect the art that we do, it is a commercial product in the sense that it's got to get done. It's got to get done. And
I'm, artists have always had, like reference files.
And
like just like, morgues full of reference photos and like we just have it digitally, and like I can't go in person to Seattle to look at this thing that John Lees is referencing. So I'm going to just like look at it on Google Earth and try my best to to draw it from Google Earth.
Or see if someone made it in SketchUp somewhere and you can just download it real quick. Just to get the right to check it out.
Used to build things in Sims.
It reminds me just one of those things where like one of the first conventions I went to was like in 2008, and it was actually the Image Founders Reunited panel minus Jim Lee, and unfortunately it was like right after Michael Turner had passed away, like literally like the day or two after. And Mark Silvestri was there and all that, but he had this really funny story about Michael Turner. Like, he had him there and he's like, this guy had lots of talent. He was great, but like, he just wasn't there yet with things. So I told him like, go draw me this building. Go draw me a building. So he comes back with this building and it looks like a loaf of bread. Like, what is this? So he's like, so I pull out a reference book and I pull him, here, draw this building. And he says, he comes back half hour later, is like the most beautifully rendered like building I've ever seen, because he looked at the reference. And I think it was a question from the audience about asking about references. He's like, so use references. Like everyone uses them.
Everyone uses references. And when you have kind of a specificity in your design, it makes things feel more rooted in reality. It makes it feel like a real place.
That's why I had to make the guitar brushes for myself, just because again I just use them as the pencils and I ink over them, But it's like, for me, again, I'll keep repeating myself on this, but just because, I don't want to insult anybody. Like when I draw guitars and it doesn't look right, I just get so pissed off. I don't care how anybody else draws. You can be as wild as you want. You can, everything can be out of whack or whatever. You can put 4 strings on it, 5 strings on it, and act like they're playing guitar. I don't care. Whatever, it's fine. But if I'm doing it, I'm gonna put myself under way too much scrutiny for it. So
you're like, but I know it's wrong.
Yes. I know this doesn't have 22 frets. This has,
And you have to just keep reminding yourself, like, somebody's gonna look at this for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And they
it's
maybe have never picked up a guitar before in their life, and they're like, well, sure, looks correct.
They don't care. Yeah. They don't care.
Yeah, but
to them, it probably looks wrong. Who knows?
Yeah. So. But like then I go and I'll watch a movie and the people and the band aren't actually playing the instruments, and that really grinds my gears at a very fundamental level. It's like, can you not even just make a simple A chord and just turn your back to the goddamn camera? So I understand where you're coming from in my own weird way. No,
I totally ruined so much stuff for my wife just because way back when we were watching like Gilmore Girls, back when it was like actually coming out. And I'm like, what? I can't stand that there's like nothing in those cups that they're drinking. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, look at the way they handle those cups. There's nothing in there. Yeah. And ever since then, she's just like, I can't. Like people are drinking stuff like, just put water in there or something. It's something. It's like, I know. It's like, this is the worst. It's the worst knowing things.
Yeah, it really is. It's hard not to ruin to accidentally. You don't do it with malice in your heart. You're not like trying to shit in anyone's cereal, but man, like sometimes you just say something out loud because you just need to say it out loud, and someone's like, "Oh man, that's how the sausage is made," and then you're like, "I just ruined this guy's day."
We're for over a decade. My wife and we both worked for a company that did specialty like patterns on glass. So we knew a lot about glass and glass types. So in movies and stuff, like, someone's crashing through a window, we're like, that wouldn't happen. That would be laminated glass. They couldn't get through that. They would just ram against it and it'd crack, but it wouldn't break. Or that wouldn't be annealed glass. That'd be tempered glass and just shatter like that. It's just all those kinds of things. It's like just turn my brain off, please. Yeah. Let me enjoy the dumb thing, which I've only seen like exacerbated by the fact that I'm seeing more like medical professionals talk about like, oh no, like this would not happen. If like you give someone CPR, they're not coming back to life. You're just trying to keep them going until. Oh man,
when we tried to watch the new season of Criminal Minds, I wouldn't shut up about how like clearly they had no idea how migraine medications work, and then it's like it's not an opiate, it's not a painkiller, it's a completely different type of medication.
And you know what? I understand it. Because as a person who's heavily tattooed, every time I'd see someone in the movies or on TV tattooing someone and not wearing gloves, I would be like, it's just such a no gloves, dry wiping, no gloves. It's like a Saw movie. Do you want to play a game? Like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah, it's the burden of knowing things, I guess. I don't know. But that's the mark of something great, because even if it's not right, and if you just in it and you're enjoying it for the ridiculousness it is.
I mean, I think in the same way that you kind of have to find the balance of like done is better than perfect. You also have to kind of find that balance of like what looks right may not always be what is actually right.
Yeah.
Like sometimes if you do something in like actual perspective, you're like, this looks really wonky. Like, why doesn't this look right? Yes. And then you just kind of have to like freehand it until it actually looks right.
Yeah. One of my favorite things, a piece of advice I've ever heard, I don't always adhere to it, but I think it was Ryan Stegman. I overheard him telling someone that, because they're asking about, drawing like inside a room, and says, it always looks weird. He's like, first thing you got to do is like, you can map everything out and say, the bed's this size, but what you have to do after that is then make it all more enclosed, make it a little bit more claustrophobic, and that'll feel more real. then, because if you actually have it properly spaced out and all that, and that's something whenever I try to keep in mind with doing things like that. So because it can't be 100% exact.
Yeah, there's always piles.
Yeah.
There's always piles. There's always like one like doom pile in a room.
Yeah.
Peter Parker doesn't live in an apartment that big in New York on his salary, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cute that you think that apartment has a closet.
Yeah. The apartment is the closet.
Oh. Being it is the day before Halloween as we record this, and we are, we're just talking about, things being kind of ridiculous. It does bring to mind, most recent, we watched the most recent Final Destination movie. I don't know if you all are fans of those.
We've seen it.
Oh, we saw it. Yeah.
We've been, my wife and I have been, it's one of those things like we'd go since this is the first one in the theaters, we would always go check them out. And the whole MRI machine thing, we're like, the whole time we're like, that's not,
yeah,
we wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But it's still like, but
wait, I've had
worth it for what they did.
I don't remember there being like super turbo mode.
Yeah.
Like, turn the dial up too, but okay. Yeah. And I'm sure that the scene with like the dance floor cracking must have made you guys crazy with the glass.
Well, for us, we're like, well, I don't know. That was in the past, so who knows?
Yeah.
Really,
everything had asbestos.
But we're also the type of people where like, because in like especially like in Chicago and the Sears Tower, I'm not calling it the Willis Tower; it's the Sears Tower. They have like the sky view thing where you can walk out, and I don't care how thick that glass is. I don't care what anyone says. I have seen too much glass just like spontaneously just combust just by sitting there and just the tempering didn't go right or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, no, you would never get me on one of those things ever.
Nope.
No, thank you. But what I was trying to get to is like so last night I saw y'all went to see Nosferatu in a nice event kind of thing. Do you two like kind of take October as a time to like go through all the horror movies, or are you kind of like year round horror lovers? Or
we're year round pretty much.
Yeah, we are year round spooky. I do appreciate like getting to go to cool events in the season. Like the showing of Nosferatu that we went to last night was done at this brewery in Central Jersey called Alternate Ending, and that brewery it's built into a movie theater that I used to go to as a kid. So it's funny because it's like, I'm pretty sure I saw like The Mummy here on like a school trip in 1999. And now I'm back here like drinking beer and watching Nosferatu. But yeah, it was the 1922 F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu. They had a live six-piece band playing the soundtrack to it. They had like what was it, like appetizer, 2 courses, and a dessert.
Got a 3-course meal.
It was just like a really special event to get to go to, but it was really awesome to get to see Nosferatu on a large screen, because it's like I've watched it on like my tablet, I've watched it on a laptop, many times. Getting to see it on a screen and getting to see it with live accompaniment, not just like whatever music the file you downloaded off wherever in 2008.
It's we only had one kind of similar experience to that, and that was we saw the Return of the King with a live orchestra.
Whoa, nice. That's cool.
There's a real like high end like concert thing called the Ravinia, a few suburbs away from us, and it's very much one of those things where it's like we saw the tickets go on sale, and this was like probably 10-11 years ago or whatever, but it was like, we got to go do this, we got to go see this, because it was this we're both big Lord of the Rings fans, and seeing the live orchestra and it was easily one of the most enjoyable experiences, not only because of the music, but everyone knew the movie, and like the pops from the crowd at the certain scenes and the stuff, and just having that whole vibe of it. Like, anything with Sam was everyone's just like, yeah, like when Cap picks up the hammer in Endgame, and the pops from the people. It's the same thing with Sam, and all that. So that's easily one of those things like where, I'm hoping that we can start, now that our kids are a little bit older, and we can start, trusting them to not murder their babysitter or drive their babysitter insane. Hopefully we can try to get some more stuff like that out in events like that, because that's kind of like more of our vibe with things, because we're not big drinkers or partiers or anything like that, or so it's just like we like movies, but like, can we let's make it fun with the thing, and we have so many great theaters around us that it's
like Tuesday night we went to see the new Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein in a movie theater, and we went to a theater in Montclair that it was like, small vintage retro kind of feeling, like 6 rows of seats. Like and it was just like such a wonderful experience to get to experience it like on a large screen, undistracted. There's no I don't feel tempted to look at my phone. My cat's not putting her butthole in my face. Like,
and also we didn't have to see that we come to this place because we go to AMC.
Okay.
So
nice. It's we're I'm excited to see that. I probably won't end up seeing it in the theater though, but
it's not easy to see in theaters because Netflix put it in theaters to be able to get considered for the Oscars. But they put it in so few theaters. Like, it wasn't. We went to this art house theater in Montclair because it's not really like an art. It used to be like an art house theater. Now it's like an art house theater, but we're also going to show the Springsteen movie and things, and the Barbie movie and things like that, because we like money. It's how we keep the lights on. But like the only way we got to see it is we had to go on one of 2 nights on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. Otherwise, we'd have to go to like Brooklyn or like farther to be able to see it.
Wow. Yikes. Yeah. I mean, I live north of Chicago, and we're pretty fairly lucky that a couple of the theaters around us, they tend to have those limited run things sometimes.
Yeah.
Mostly the Regal cinemas we go to, but so yeah, I haven't looked and checked or whatever, but but I'm big Guillermo del Toro fan. Definitely wanted to see that. Hopefully it was good.
It was fantastic. If your favorite Guillermo del Toro movie is Crimson Peak, it will hit all of those notes for you.
Okay.
And it's cool. There's like definitely props and things from Crimson Peak that showed up again in Frankenstein. So it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. I remember when we saw Crimson Peak, I think we were very underwhelmed when we first saw it, because I think it might have been the marketing. Like it wasn't, we were expecting something more like horror-y, supernatural type of feel. And this was just like a gothic love story.
Yeah. Like they definitely didn't know how to advertise that movie.
Yeah.
I think they oversold how much like horror was in it and not the like gothic elements of it at all.
Yeah, because in returning to talking about it and stuff like that, we're like, well, actually, that was cool, that was good, that was, it's like, wait a second, we did like this movie. It just wasn't what we expected. And unfortunately, because I'm perpetually like an 8-year-old boy, like my favorite Guillermo movie is Pacific Rim. It just is.
Yes.
Oh, dude,
it's so good.
It will never not be
highly underrated.
It is like, I can talk about that movie for ages. It's like everything is just like exactly as it needs to be, and I don't know. It just hits all the right, it leaves you wanting more, but also like it gives you enough.
Yeah. No, I mean, the beautiful thing about Guillermo del Toro is you watch his movies, and even when it comes to dark subject matter, you can feel the joy in the art he creates. You can feel that it just comes across as so pure and so like this is made by a person who is like, holy shit, they gave me all this money and I get to do my thing my way. Like
I get to make Abe Sapien.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my wife is a big fan of the Hellboy movies and is very just like me, very disappointed we won't get that third one. But
I can't even talk about it.
Pan's Labyrinth is definitely like probably my number 2 though.
Pan's Labyrinth is like fantastic, and like I was thinking about going back and rewatching it, and I was like, I don't know if I can immerse myself in that right now.
Yeah,
it's like do I want to go watch the movie about fascism while fascism is happening? Like, I probably should.
Yeah,
I probably will have very different feelings about it than I did when I first saw it, like 10, 15 years ago.
And for me, I actually have not. I don't think I've actually fully revisited it since becoming a parent.
Yeah,
and it's just I just know it's just gonna. Like, I'm already on a hair trigger, let's be honest. But like it's immediately gonna F me up.
Yeah.
Big
you
time.
may just want to go watch Pacific Rim.
Yeah, exactly. I could put on Pacific Rim, and I could still get teary eyed when he's saying goodbye to his dog, because who's not gonna say goodbye to his dog?
That's a good boy.
Such a good boy. Anyway, so yeah. Are there any I won't keep you on too much longer, but are there any like horror movies or anything like that you feel like you've seen this year that people haven't discussed enough, or just some favorites you like to revisit throughout the year?
What was the one we watched that was WNUF adjacent?
We watched just a movie called For Sale by Exorcist.
Okay.
It's friggin' delightful. It's on Tubi. The person who created WNUF Halloween special, his wife is the director and writer of For Sale by Exorcist. It is such a joy to watch. It's fun. It's like cheeky, and it's like it's not necessarily family friendly horror, but it's definitely like they're having fun with it, and they're having a good time with it, and it's not scary per se, and it's just like, oh my god, this stuff is happening, and they're just experiencing it and they're dealing with it. I don't want to give it away because I genuinely think it's such a great watch, and since you can watch it for free on Tubi, you should. Phantasm, I'm always going to tell people to go back to Phantasm. The greatest of all time. I haven't rewatched Monster Squad this season, only because I watched it like 4 times already this year. I've kind of hit my
emotional support movie.
My emotional support, Monster Squad. Chopping Wall.
I'm with you.
Chopping Wall is another one more people should be talking about and watching.
Oh yeah.
The first we just saw the last Conjuring. It was all right. The first Conjuring, I think, is a quiet masterpiece, which I think really kicked the doors open for that style of movie again in the genre. What else did we see recently that I was like, that's actually really good? I enjoyed that.
I know. I got to go on my. Let me look on my Letterboxd.
But I'm always going back and rewatching. I actually the other day I had to kill some time, and there was a bunch of stuff I didn't want to watch until I could watch it with Sally. So I put on the Wolfman, the original Wolfman, and I'm like, damn, like it is just such an exceptional movie. For what you think about, like, for what they had to do back in the day to be able to do. I was saying this to Sally after seeing Nosferatu, the effects and the transformations and things like that. It's like you're just figuring it out. Like, we can do that. We can do that. We shoot in like 4K on our iPhones now, but back then they're like, okay, we're gonna figure it out.
So what we did go back and we did watch older movies. We watched House on Haunted Hill.
Yep, the original.
And then 2 weeks later I watched Mask of the Red Death. And Mask of the Red Death is like, I forgot how fantastic it is. Because it is just this like 1960s medieval revival aesthetic. It's just gorgeous colors, super trippy, super creepy, just visually amazing. And then like Vincent Price just being
chewing up scenery,
but in just the most wonderful way.
Oh my god, of course. Oh, Night of the Reaper. We saw Night of the Reaper on Shudder, which I thought was great.
Okay.
And then R.L. Would you just have?
Oh yeah, R.L. Stein, Pumpkinhead.
It's not Pumpkinhead like Lance Henriksen Pumpkinhead. It's just an R.L. Stein thing. Also on Tubi. Where's it on Tubi?
Yeah,
it's also on Tubi.
Okay.
Awesome.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid. Like if you were really disappointed with the Fourth Fear Street movie they put out this year,
yeah, watch
this will make you feel better.
Okay, because you know what, we enjoyed the first three, but we haven't seen the fourth one yet. But I've heard enough. You guys know Dave Scheid?
Yeah.
I know. Dave's great. He's a huge R.L. Stein fan and all that, and I trust his decision, his opinions a lot in movies because we have a similar taste. And he's like, "Yeah, it's garbage." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna."
So the first three Fear Street movies were fantastic and had a woman directing it.
That's what
and then they gave the fourth movie to a guy, and it was terrible.
We just ruined everything.
And I'm going to leave it as that.
Terrible.
It has none of the like heart and sensitivity and emotion that the first three have. It's just kind of like a goofy like Scream knockoff with a dash of Carrie. Like it's just not like,
but doesn't lean far enough into the camp and the absurdity of it. It's just bland. It's like, I'm just gonna eat a whole sleeve of saltine crackers. I like salty things, and just see how that works.
Yeah. Did you all watch that movie Abigail?
Yes, that's the not the ballerina.
Yeah, Dracula's daughter.
Really enjoyed that. Yeah, a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Because that was one of the ones where I saw that, and I was just like immediately like, I think this is gonna be one of my new favorites to go back to because it just seems so easy to just watch and put on because everything just kind of, and it's just so ridiculous at the blood in the end and just like, I immediately like texted Steve Bryant, my co-creator of Evie and the Helsings, the next day. I'm like, dude, watch Abigail, and like just imagine like that's what we need to shoot for. This is our tone. Like this is
spot on.
It's like in up there with like Ready or Not.
Yeah.
The ending of Ready or Not.
Yeah. Wait, what was Ready or Not? Oh no, I'm thinking of what's the one where he brings her to be, and like they didn't realize she grew up like in a doomsday prepper house or something like that. She's just like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, You're Next.
No. You're Next. Yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking. I haven't seen Ready or Not yet, though. I've heard so many great things about it. It's one of those ones that we have not gotten to yet. But,
You're Next was
really
great.
need to.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I don't know if I've ever recommended this to either one of you before, but a couple of buddies, they did a podcast. They just kind of wrapped it all up, but they decided to like write the Dark Universe, starting with the Tom Cruise Mummy. Like they took that one as the canon.
Yeah.
And then whatever ideas they had from there, they decided to like write pitches on their podcast and present them like little mini, pitch / stories on the podcast. And it's really good because a lot of them are real, like the take on Frankenstein, and like my favorite, like they also like experiment with like different genres within the characters. Like they took their pitch for the Invisible Man is John C. Reilly in a heist movie.
Okay.
As the Invisible Man, with Walton Goggins as the antagonist, and it's just amazing.
Take my money.
And they keep going on and on. They have a great take on the Wolfman. They'll cast it with people. They'll have they'll pick like directors, so you kind of have like a visual in your head of like what you think how it's going to go. And it got to a point where like at the end they'll do their big team up movie or whatever, and they'll actually have like their friends and like some voice actors come and like say the parts.
That's fantastic.
And since they're both musicians, what there may be some musical episodes with like Phantom of
definitely
the
send me the
Phantom of the
link to that, because
Opera.
I will definitely listen to the shit out of that. The Dark
Yeah,
Universe thing was such a misstep, because they did the Dracula movie first. They did a Dracula movie, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, we're doing a Dark Universe. Like, okay, wow, they guess they just soft launched it. They go, but that Dracula movie that we literally just made, that's not part of the Dark Universe.
Yeah.
And everyone's
Well, it might
what?
be
Like,
because I think they tacked something on at the end, like with
they did, and you could tell it was definitely bolted on, because they were like, no, that's not part of the Dark Universe. Then something like, oh, maybe it should be, but we don't know yet, so we're just gonna put this ambiguous tack on in case we need to come back to that later. Then you have the Tom Cruise Mummy, and it was just like, man, you really just goofed it by not having the foundation of the Dark Universe be Brendan Fraser's Mummy.
Yeah.
I will not confirm nor deny if those Mummy movies make their way back into some sort of canon with what they're doing.
I will listen to it. Don't spoil it. I will listen to it.
It's really I really enjoyed it. Granted, they at least at the beginning, one of them was a bud and someone I worked with before, but since then I've gotten to know them, and it's just really, really great stuff. And now they just relaunched, and they're essentially starting their own cinematic universe with their own stories.
Love it.
Via this podcast, and so far there are a couple pitches in it. It's really good as well. But I'll send you both the link.
I'm sure that their pitch for the Wolfman is better than the Wolfman movie that actually came out.
Oh yeah.
The best part of that movie was, what's her name? Julia Garner. Julia Garner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was the best part of the movie. Then she was in Weapons, and
I just
onwards and upwards, girl.
I think we've all been through enough, and I think it's okay to finally let every movie for the last, it feels like almost 10 years now. What's the real monster? It's generational trauma. The villain is generational trauma. I think it's okay to just have the thing be a monster. I think we can maybe it's time to give up that trope and just go back to, the guy got bitten by a werewolf and now he's going nuts and killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. I don't know. Let us see the monster.
It's finally time for another Monster Squad.
Not believing in rabies vaccines.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, see, it's a slippery slope there, because they bring that back, it could just go a completely wrong and upsetting way.
Not have to use my pitch anyway. Listen, I'm not going to say I did or did not try to look up to see who owns the comic book rights to that.
I know a lot of people who did. And I don't think anyone ever got a definitive answer on it.
No, that's the problem. There's no real set answers there. But awesome. Well, I will not keep you two any longer. It's getting late over there. It's getting late over here, and all that. But thank you so much both for coming on. Everyone, please go check out Orla. And I'm going to look it up again, because I don't want to mess up this wonderfully long title.
You can just say the abridged version.
Yeah.
Under the Shadow of the Noonday Witch. There will be links to the late pledge Kickstarters to go check it out. I've had I keep wanting to dip my toes into the tabletop RPG thing, and or just all that kind of stuff. And between constantly seeing your stuff and then my buddy Chuck Beebe, who's doing a module for something, and I'm like, I gotta dip my toes in this. This seems like too much fun. I mean,
buddy, if you have any questions, you need any help with anything whatsoever, a guy. It's me. I'm the guy.
Yeah. You're the pro. You're the guy who knows the things.
I know a thing or two.
About
a thing or two.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for your time. Everyone, go check out their awesome stuff. And now it's time if you let everybody know where they can find you on the social media.
Well, you can find me across social media at John McGuire RPG. I'm mostly on Instagram. You can check out our stuff at hamandeggpublishing.com. There's links to everywhere you need to go.
All
right. You can find me on Blue Sky and Instagram, Sally Cantirino. I think my Instagram, there's an underscore in there, but if you Google, I'll show up. I don't think there's a whole lot of people that share my name.
Awesome.
And sallycantorino.com. I update it occasionally.
Awesome. And I'll do my best, pictures, links to all of that in there. in the show notes below and all that. So once again, Sally, John, thank you so much.
Yeah,
our pleasure, man. Good to hang with you.
Thanks for having us on.